name is Patrick Storm. I am doing all the social media for the Arts Council. My company is the Lemon Tree Agency. If you want to follow me on social media, it's Lemon Tree Agency on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also reach out to me through all of the Arts Council pages and direct message me there if you like, whatever is the easiest for you. And my number is also on the bottom of that form as well. Actually, nope, I don't think it is on there. Nope. So but just message me through any of the ACPC pages and I can take care of you. We want to try to use the power of the entire group because we are all stronger. We're the little ants that can build incredible things together. And that's especially true with social media. So we're going to go through just a couple quick things that are going to make it easier for us all to reach more people and do less work, because that's what we want. We don't want to have to try to have all of your art and do all the social media and everything else. So a few of the things that make it much easier is we want to make sure that we confirm that you're actually using a Facebook business page and not a personal page. We want to make sure that your usernames, you actually have a custom username. So when you look up in the navigation bar of the website, it'll say facebook.com/ABCArts. It's not going to say ABCArts-555555, because if it has all those numbers after it, you haven't set up your custom username yet. All right. We want you to not build your own event for the studio tour. We want you to share the one that we have and add it to your event calendar, and I'm going to show you how to do that. And we also want to know, to help you understand how to reach more people by using the event properly. And then also at the very last, we're going to touch base on making sure that we're showing the affection to our sponsors, our supporters, our other partner organizations that make all of this possible, and of course, the other artists that are participating as well. So let's jump into this. If you're not sure if your business page has a custom username, you can always go through a computer is always the easiest instead of the smartphones, but you'll see right over here underneath the names, it'll say @the ACPC or @ yours is. If it doesn't have that and it just says add custom username, then you haven't set up your username yet. Why is that important? It's because when you have a custom username, it makes it easier for your fans to find you quickly and to mention you when they're taking pictures of your art and sharing it online. And for the Arts Council to highlight you and say, excuse me, that we want to share your art, it's much easier if you have a custom username. And if it matches the same on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, that's the trifecta, but it's not always going to happen. It didn't happen for the Arts Council, and that's okay. It's just a goal. Yes?
Could you give us an example on the custom username?
Yeah.
And how that fits in and where it shows?
Sure, exactly. So it's normally going to be right underneath on where your main name is. See where right above that arrow it says @the ACPC, or if you look in the navigation bar on the top, it's going to have your custom name there. And you can always double check that too by going to the About and then looking at if it actually has username, it's going to have it right there. Otherwise, it's going to actually say add username and you can edit and add it. So that's an important thing to do. Now, it can be very frustrating to go and say, well, I want to grab this one username, but then you find out you went to Twitter and Instagram and they don't have it available. So there's an answer for that. There is a website called Name Checker, NAMCHECKR, so no E. It'll Google and it'll pop right up. This is one-stop shopping for your usernames. If you go onto there and you type in what you're thinking of doing for your business or for your arts, you can search usernames, domains for all of the platforms, and it'll tell you right away if they're available or not. So then you can do all of your research without having to, okay, I got it on Facebook, now I'm going to go get it on Twitter, and just to find out that it's not going to work at all on Twitter, or it's not available on Instagram. This lets you work all of that out before you actually start to go through the process and the headache of actually signing up for different pages and setting up usernames. Excuse me. On Facebook, if you're starting a brand new business page, You cannot set up a custom username until I believe it's now 20 followers. And the longer you wait, the more they tend to increase it. It used to be 5 followers, then it was 15, now it's 20. Before we know it, it'll be 50 followers, because they're trying to make sure that people aren't just doing a land grab, because these usernames are worth gold. I mean, people grabbed G&E and Ford and Chevy and everything else, and those brands had to fight to get those back. So it's the same type of thing with us, is that they're trying to put up barriers to keep people from just land grabbing usernames. Okay, so you have to do something. It's very easy. We have more than 20 people in this room, so if you're having a new one set up, just reach out to your friends and say, hey, I need you to follow my new page. Before you know it, you'll have 20, and make sure that you invite us as well, so that we can help spread the word of, hey, we have a new artist that's just started on Facebook. We want them to help get. So name checker is an easy way to check everything else. Now, the number one thing, there's always one of those things where I say, if you walk out of here with just one bit of knowledge, you've succeeded. This is that little bit of knowledge that I want to make sure everybody walks away with. Do not build a new event for the studios tour. I know it's very lucrative to say, I built this so that I can share all of my stuff that I'm doing. But if you just have your followers and that page, you're limiting how many people we can get eyeballs, and it can then start to actually get confusing, because if people are searching on Facebook they'll see 60 different events for the same thing instead of one event for 3 days, and they'll start to get information confused. If you go in and just hit right next to the share button, there's the 3 little mystery dots that nobody ever clicks on. It'll say save, add to page, get more responses. Add to page is what you want to do, because add to page takes that event and puts it directly into your event calendar on Facebook, and it says, hey, they have a new event at High Hand Art Gallery or at Blue Line. That is the easiest way to do it. We could make all of you co-hosts, but if one person says, oh, this was a mistake, and they delete the event or cancel it, they're not deleting it for themselves. They're deleting it for all of us. So we don't do co-hosts anymore unless it is like very, very targeted. So that's why we say, please, please, please click the magical 3 dots and add it to your page. It can only be done on a computer.
Which site is that on? Is that on your
This is on Facebook. So yeah, and it's on the ACPC Facebook page. Yeah, so, and you can go through and click on the events, scroll down and find it. You cannot do it on a smart device, a tablet, or a smartphone. It can only be done to add to your page from a computer. So that's why this is a special little fun thing, and it makes it easy to do, but you have to sit down at a computer to do it. Okay? Does that make sense? Question? Yes, it'll actually add, because there's different tabs. So if you don't, but that'll only work again for a business page. If it's a personal page, you can share it, but you can't add it because you have no events. It doesn't give you that feature as a personal page. But yep. Exactly. And then here's the power, is that if we get 3,000, 6,000, 10,000 people that like that event with either saying they're going or interested, every time an artist goes into this discussion tab and says, hey, we're very excited to have this at Grizzly Gallery, come check us out, this is what we're going to be doing, everybody that showed interest in that gets a little notification. And so now every artist can go into one event and increase their audience, because it's a guarantee that there are going to be people that have now been exposed to that because it's been put on so many different artists' pages that you're going to get a larger audience to see it. If it was just on our page and it wasn't added to everyone else's page, then we have a tiny audience. But if we all do it, now we're talking tens of thousands of eyeballs. So that is where our power comes. Question? Excuse me. No, what I'm talking about can only be done through a computer, not through a smartphone or a tablet. Oh yeah. On the event and what's going on, that's all fine through a smart. The only thing that I'm limited or that you're limited to is actually adding it to your event schedule. Once it's there, you can go into the discussion and add things and do everything else. It's just a matter of it getting added to your event calendar on Facebook. That has to be done through a computer. Everything else, smartphone. Everybody gets their notifications and everything else, no problem. Yes.
On the business pages, when we post something like this,
Yes.
does it go out actually to every single one of the people who have liked our pages?
Now
Or do you have to re-invite
there's
to
still
do that?
there's still a algorithm that basically limits it so it's not going out to everybody, because remember, Facebook gets their money on advertisements and boosted, but it does increase our percentage of how many people. So if it's added to your event calendar, then your followers will get a notification of Jay just added a new event, and it'll go out to most of your followers. The industry standard is still 2 to 3%, but the more people that do it, because it becomes it's a bit of a black box on how exactly they do it, because they don't share the algorithm. But the more people that we have sharing it to their event calendar, the higher the percentage of people that actually see it. So otherwise, they just want the money to hit constantly boost it out and boost it out. Yes.
So can we can add it to our events, but can we send out invites?
Oh, of course.
We
Yeah.
can actually, even though we're not the host, we can
Yeah, because you can just hit it share then, and then you can send it out that way.
do that from our business page or
From your business page, just from your business page. As a personal, you can invite people to like events that you're going to if you click that you're interested. But normally on the personal page, once you click interested, your friends are normally going to get little pop-ups of, hey, Patrick's going to the Beer and Wine Fest, or so those things are going to naturally pop up, because they do still like to share what people are doing. Your friends are going to be a higher engagement. That's why a lot of people say, well, I get a lot of engagement on my personal page. I'm not using a business page. That's true because Facebook wants you to enjoy your relationship with your friends. But there are certain things that the friend sites will not do or allowed us to do that the business sites will. And events is definitely one of them. So you can go into it, you can add videos, you can add surveys, you can add photos, and it's just there's 2 tabs at the bottom. And so that makes it very easy. So you can make sure you're clicking that you're going or interested as your own self, and that's fine. And then at the bottom, you'll see About and Discussions. So you just tap on the Discussions tab, and then you can write a post, add photos, live video, create polls. You can share things, share Google Map links. Hey, this is where my studio is. I'm stop number 37. It just makes it to where it's one clearinghouse for us all to engage with that one big pot of followers. So I'm not saying not to do stuff on your own page. I'm just saying please don't create 30 different events for the same day, because it'll actually hurt our traction to reach a larger audience. Yes?
I'm asking for a friend. If that friend already did another event,
Let it slide. That's okay. No, please don't. Because here's what happens. Same thing that happened last year. Somebody deleted their event, and they already had, a lot of people. Well, every time you delete it or cancel it, it sends out and this is where it's really, okay, if you share a post or something else, right, you see it 1 to 2% of your followers. If you cancel an event, 100% of the people that clicked that they were interested or going gets a little thing that says, this event has been canceled. The Mandarin Festival had a vendor that was set up as a co-host last year, and the day before the event opened, they said, well, it's smoky, we can't make it there, we're not going to go there. So they went in and they canceled the Mandarin Festival because they thought they were just taking it off their own page. It canceled it, and there was an invitation that went out to 600,000 people that says the Mandarin Festival is canceled. Can you imagine the money that we had to spend to reach all of those people to say the Mandarin Festival is not canceled? The account was corrupted by someone, and even though it's smoky and everything else, the weather in Auburn's fine in the Mandarin Festival. We had to spend a ton of money, but we reached 1.5 million people in 48 hours, and it was very well attended. But that was a very costly that we had no way of going back to that vendor and saying, thank you for not coming to the Mandarin Festival and canceling it for everyone else. So that's why I always say we're not going to make everyone co-hosts, because we can't take that risk. And we don't want you to make people co-hosts. But if you already made one, that's okay. Let's just limit how many we have of those out there, so that, because you're not in trouble for it, and neither is your friend. Good. Yeah. We just want to make sure that we're giving ourselves the best chance to get everybody's information, because that's the fun part, is that if we're all in one event and, you know, we have somebody sharing photography and someone sharing clay and someone sharing glass blowing. I don't know who does glass blowing in here, but I'm sure somebody does. So all of those things in one feed for one event, it really brings the event to life, to where your followers are very familiar with what you do, and they're going to get excited about it, and they're already following you. But now if they're seeing all of the options in Placer County, it really raises our level with the county, because then they see the variety that we're bringing and the bountiful culture that people get excited about. So that's why we say, let's try to keep it into one place. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, all right. Next. So now, maybe you're saying, question.
I just wondered if the benefits of boosting a post, and if the ACPC is doing any boosts for the tour.
We are. Yeah, we have a limited budget that we put into it, but we absolutely do boost them. There's paid advertisement and there's boosts, and we do the paid advertisements. That way we can do A/B testing, so we can say which headlines are going to work better and everything else, and we can actually target it by interest of people that are interested in wine tasting and yoga and arts and performing arts and theater and everything else. So we're reaching a demographic that is actually interested in coming out to the tour.
And that's a separate piece from the event that you're talking about.
Yes, absolutely. And we take care of all of that behind the scenes, so that we're sending that out to try to, and because then even if, you know, if we have everyone that's connected and shared it, we can now reach maybe 100,000 people in a couple days for $40 instead of, you know, just 2 people that are sharing it, and now we reach maybe 1,500 people for $80. So, yes.
Along this line, if some of us have events like we did in May when we shared it onto there,
Right.
are you on those other events doing your own boosting, or should we do those?
If they're your events, we can't boost events that we're not co-hosts on. Most of the time you are making us co-hosts, and that's the other thing. You can always trust me and Jim and Mary Chris. We are not going to delete any events. So if you are going to be somewhere and you have built an event, please, please, please make us a co-host so that we can share every event possible across Placer County and put it onto our calendar. So all you have to do is just go in on a computer and add a co-host as the ACPC, and then we'll get a little thing that says you've been invited to be a co-host.
Is that a 3-dot thing? Adding a
No, it's actually when you're setting up the event, you scroll down and it says, do you want to add people that are co-hosts? It's not going to pop up on a smartphone, so it's another thing to where they've shuffled it off to the computer, but it is available. And on those cases when we're actually co-host, if we see something that really needs it, we may throw, if we have funds available in our advertising budget, because sometimes Facebook sends us little codes saying, hey, you've got $40 in free ads, and then we'll try to sprinkle it around. So those things do typically happen, but we try to reserve the funds for the large events where we're trying to help as many people as possible. But we have Blue Line that puts us on to their events, and we have High Hand, and we have the Auburn State Theater. So it's open to everyone, because that is our narrative of we want to be the clearinghouse to make sure that we're sharing every event that's out there. So as long as it's in Placer County, we do share some things that are going on in other counties if we have Placer County artists that are participating, like Wide Open Walls. We had Allie that was down there doing a mural. So of course we want to share and highlight what our local artists are doing regardless of where they are. So that is also open to us. Okay. Now, one of the other things is some people are saying, well, I'm not seeing what the ACPC is doing. Again, 1 to 2%, remember, that's what Facebook wants to share with everybody, even if you're following the page. So one of the ways that you can increase that is if you go in on a computer, and I think this actually may also be available on a smartphone, but it's a little trickier to get to. You can get to following, and then the default is default. Default basically means that you're maybe going to see what we post 3 days after we posted it. If you click that and change it to see first, now at least you have the best chance of seeing it when we post it, because you've told Facebook that this is important to me and I need to see things that they do now. If you don't do that, I can guarantee you that you may see the post, but you're going to see it 3 days after we've posted. And most of the things that we do, we're actually out at events like the runway. Nice little plug. The runway, Reinvent the Runway on October 12th at the Sierra College. You'll probably see photos from this event 3 days later. So if you do following, change it from default to see first, then you'll have the best chance of actually seeing what we're doing, and you can help comment, like, and share. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Show up on a tablet, so that just do it on the iPad, just like you talked about.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay, now the last component for us that's the most important thing is that, again, we're all stronger, but we're also much better supported by the people that support us. So inside the studio guide tour that you all have in the packet and everything else, about halfway through there's a list of all of our sponsors that have supported the ACPC and the arts in Placer County. Take a look for them. Placer Community Foundation, please, please, please thank them. They are a huge supporter for us. You know, and if you're at one of the wineries doing a show, make sure you tag the winery. If you're at home enjoying a bottle of Fawnridge, then tag Fawnridge and saying, love that Fawnridge is a supporter of the arts. You know, you look for all the opportunities for how you can engage with the people that are supporting us to be able to put on events that are like this. So please pay attention to who our sponsors are in that arts guide, and take a second to maybe even reach out on social media and just say, thank you very much, API Marketing, or thank you very much, Style Guide. Style Magazine printed the Style Guide for us this year, so that beautiful publication is directly related to their work putting this together for us. So these are just some options. These are not all of our sponsors, but it's other things. Visit Placer. She does an amazing job. She's also the same person that manages California Grown, Visit Sacramento. So if you're doing things in Placer County and you tag Visit Placer in Instagram, especially in stories, you have a very good chance that she's going to turn around and share that, because they want to help promote everything that's going on in Placer County. And they can't create enough content for the demand. We have to help them by tagging Visit Placer or Explore Auburn or Visit California or California Arts. So make sure you're looking for those type of people that are going to give you an option to reach a larger audience, because Visit Placer is another 8,000 eyeballs. So that's always nice.
Quick question.
Yes.
Display my ignorance. If I was, say I was going to tag Placer County for something they'd done,
Mm-hmm.
or that I was something noteworthy, I would put that on my own page and type in Placer Community, and I would get one of those common tag things.
It starts with the @ symbol,
Yeah.
and then you just type out what they're. In most of them, you can search for the. I always start with searching for the username in the search bar first. It's easier.
Yeah.
Then I'll look for what their username is.
Yeah.
Then I'll write those down. I'll say, okay, I want to mention Visit Placer. I want to visit Placer County, because Placer County is Placer CA on Twitter, but they're Placer County spelled out on Instagram and Facebook, if I remember right. So, and that's where resist the temptation of easy. Instagram makes it to where you can just tap 2 buttons and it'll automatically post to Facebook and to Twitter. None of the links will actually hold. So if you mentioned Placer County here, it'll have @Placer CA, but that may not be their username and it's not going to link. And so it gets very confusing because then people are trying to search for them by what they're seeing. It's an easy way to do it, but it's not necessarily the cleanest way. Or accurate, exactly. So, and with that said, this is going to be the wrap, because we've already had a very long evening. And it's wonderful, and I really appreciate you all being here. Some people say, I'm on Instagram, works great for me. I'm not on Facebook, I'm not on Instagram, I'm not going to deal with it. I don't want to see any of that stuff. think of social media as a first date. Do you go to eat where you want to eat or where they want to go to eat? Okay? If you have somebody that walks into your gallery and that just happens to be a reporter with Channel 10 or a writer for Style Magazine or anything else, and they just happen to have 100,000 followers on Twitter, and maybe they don't like any other platform, do you not want to even have a presence on that to where they can easily tag you? And if all you had is just your Twitter set up with the link to your website and one photo and you've never posted to it since, at least it gives that reporter a way to easily link share. The Kardashian walks in, they may not be your favorite person, but if they love your art and they tweet it and now it went out to 3.5 million people, they're now your favorite person. Exactly. So, and the same thing with Instagram and Twitter. It doesn't have to mean that you have to feed gone are the days of having to, you didn't build a page unless you were willing to feed it. It's your brand, it's your identity, it's your business. So have all of the platforms, even if you don't want to maintain them, so that if someone else wants to mention you and do a news story on you or loves your art and it's Bill Gates or whoever else, give them the ability to share it with their friends because it's their first date. They get to eat where they want to eat. They're going to mention you regardless. The only difference is that they're not going to have an easy way to tag you. You'll never know that they mentioned you, and it's a missed opportunity for their followers to learn about your art and to reach a larger audience. Does that make sense? Okay, message received. Thank you.